a rating on who everybody was pulling for on Friday night, the Dynasty or annoying Houston, and their analytics, love, because I found Houston very hard to root for, even though I love their general manager. We'll get into that and give the Blazers some love and talk about analytics before the end of the hour in the most entertaining way we can do it. It's funny. I've said from the very beginning, Lakers hired Frank Vogel as their head coach yesterday. Not who I would have hired, but whatever. Lakers aren't doing a lot I would do. But it's interesting. I said Friday, there's a difference between concern and consumed. I'm concerned what I eat. I'm not consumed by it. My favorite thing to eat is a hamburger. I'm not going to wake up every morning and trap myself into only eating things, that are perfect on guidelines and regulations. And listen, at some point, I want to live. I like my hamburgers. It's the same thing with everything. I was concerned about Y2K. I didn't literally build a bunker in my backyard. I understand the concern with the Lakers about just giving the franchise to LeBron, because every place he leaves is a train wreck an hour later. Cleveland twice and Miami. I get that, but I think they've been consumed by it. I swear to God, after they hired Frank Vogel, I was sitting there thinking, are they trolling LeBron? I just want to hear me out on this. I think they're trolling LeBron, the Lakers are. They've become obsessed with not giving LeBron anything he wants. So who's one of the first people, when LeBron came, they signed up? Lance Stevenson, who was his annoying nemesis. I mean, LeBron and Lance Stevenson don't work together at all. Lance can't shoot. LeBron's great with shooters. LeBron loves kind of like high IQ, get-it veterans, and Lance is goofy. Talented, but goofy. So they get him. Then Phil Jackson, according to a story, the Lakers relied heavily on hiring Frank Vogel because of Phil Jackson's recommendation. Well, didn't Phil Jackson call LeBron and his guys a posse? Then they hire Frank Vogel, who I swear to God called Miami floppers. And then, by the way, Rob Pelinka gets a job in the Laker front office. That's Kobe's agent. LeBron and Kobe were never tight. Magic, who LeBron loved, quits. And now they just elevate Pelinka, who again is Kobe's agent, who LeBron's never been tight with. And then, oh, by the way, the camper is Ty Lue, the one guy LeBron wanted. Yeah, they offered him an insulting 3-year contract. Are you in LeBron's camp, or are you trying to aggravate him? Could you give him a solid here? Kobe's agent, Phil Jackson, Lance Stevenson, dissing Ty Lue. You do get he's your number one asset and your number one player. I mean, when Green Bay chose Aaron Rodgers over Brett Favre, did they basically go to Brett Favre's closest advisors for the next 7 years and make sure they hired people Brett liked over Aaron? No, the Packers at one point figured out we got to get a quarterback coach Aaron likes. We got to get, and eventually they moved off even a good head coach, Mike McCarthy, because it didn't work for Aaron Rodgers. And you got to make Aaron Rodgers comfortable, not uncomfortable. Like at some point, you got to get shooters for LeBron. That's what he's always worked well with. Now, basically, my guess is LeBron has to do the phone work, get on the phone and get Kyrie Irving here, because that would work. Anthony Davis, I don't think would work. Kyrie Irving and LeBron, pretty interesting. But, I mean, there's a gap between concerned and consumed. It's like you're trolling him. It's like you're dissing him. If you're going to hire Frank Vogel, just hire Jason Kidd. At least LeBron, respects the player. They both have kind of the same record, no? Joy with the news.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
So the Cleveland Cavaliers had a surprising announcement this morning.
Wow.
They hired John Beilein as their next head coach. He spent the last 12 years at Michigan, turning them into one of college basketball's most successful programs.
Yeah.
Had 2 runs to the national championship game in 2013 and 2018. And in Cleveland's, the first year without LeBron, they went 19-63.
Yes.
And obviously they have, they're tied with the Suns and the Knicks with 14% for the number 1 overall pick, which we will find out about on Tuesday in the draft lottery, which is very exciting.
Yes.
So big move for Cleveland.
I mean, when I first heard that, I was like, he feels like a college coach to me.
Well, yes, this is his first venture into the NBA at age 66.
He's supposed to be
he would
he really
considered a college
qualifies.
coach.
I mean, Brad Stevens was an up-and-coming coach and felt too big for Butler, so he could go either way. This is a shocker. First of all, he's a great in-game coach, very respected, but he's 66, never been an NBA coach. Dan Gilbert, I do believe, is from the state of Michigan, so he may have connections.
I think he's also a big Michigan booster.
Okay, all right. And so I can't criticize the move because I've got to see it work. Now, Brad Stevens, college to pro, has worked mostly. Jerry Tarkanian, college coach. I don't know how it's going to work. I just know when I heard this, I was like, I thought he loved Michigan. I thought he was at Michigan forever.
Well, this is a very dramatic move for Michigan, obviously.
Yeah.
It's kind of puts a halt on their program. They're going to have to make some big moves. But wow. I like the move in that he's never had any issues like culturally with his programs.
No.
So if you want to bring someone in who's going to establish a culture with Cleveland, this is a good move. He's probably going to retire after this because we don't imagine, unless there's some wild level of success, that Dan Gilbert would stick with him after this 5-year contract. But what makes it interesting, at least to me, is what if you get Zion? I mean, he's going to have to learn how to coach in the NBA while possibly coaching one of the most prolific college players
this is interesting.
To the NBA in a long time.
Very interesting, Joy, because Zion actually, if you get Zion or Ja Morant, well, they already have Colin Sexton, so they wouldn't take Ja Morant. But what Dan Gilbert sold him on, and Beeline probably believed, is, hey, we're young. This is going to be like this is going to be a college team for 3 years. Now, at the end of it, as they grow and become stars, but maybe Dan Gilbert said, listen, the way kids leave now, this is a bunch of sophomores and juniors in college for the next 3 years. By the way, Brad Stevens had great success for 3 or 4 years with college guys, may struggle with a veteran star.
Well, they still do have some veterans on there. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it as far as if they get Zion. If they don't get Zion, I think it's a good move. And like I said, we don't know how he's going to translate to the NBA. It's a completely different game, and he's spent his entire career in college for the most part. So, I mean, he's going to have to learn how to track opposing players' tendencies, to manage egos on a completely different level. Interacting with NBA players is completely different than college, but it's a dramatic move. It affects at least college basketball in a big way. So Toronto's big trade for Kawhi seemed to be validated. That 1-year rental last night, his buzzer beater over Joel Embiid, beat the Sixers 92-90 in epic style. Had about 17 bounces, had everyone on the edge of their seat there for a second, and then it finally dropped.
Perfect way to end, too, for that series, which... Could anybody figure out that series?
No.
I mean, literally.
I honestly was dreading overtime. I'm usually very excited for extra basketball, and I was like, please, someone just win this.
Weird series.
Kawhi did us a favor. So he became just the second player in the last 20 years to clinch a playoff series with a buzzer beater. Damian Lillard did it in the first round against the Rockets in 2014, and then against the Thunder last month. So it's working out for Kawhi there in Toronto. You're right, though. Nobody wanted to take a shot there. I mean... No one.
No.
Siakam wouldn't even look. No. He wouldn't even look at the rim.
No. I mean, listen, Kawhi is just terrific. This is the best he's ever played. Yeah, there was a little hot potato on the perimeter late. It was almost kind of comical. Everybody's just, no, bro, it's yours. Take it. You're hot.
It made you wonder why they wouldn't put Danny Green in, because he is not afraid of those big shots.
No. It was.
But whatever they did, it worked out.
Good for, listen, Toronto's a great city, period. It's a great city, and there's a lot of fear out there that if Kawhi leaves, what does it mean for Canadian basketball? Every win, to me, is an advantage for the Raptors to keep him. Whether he does or not, they lose this series, it's an easy exit for him. It gets harder to leave Canada when you start winning series and are loved, and you see how valuable you are to a franchise.
He's a legend forever for that shot, either way. Their fan base is so solid, I don't think that wavers either way. Eventually, they're going to get another star there and embrace him. So I don't worry so much about that. I don't think anyone knows. I don't think Kawhi knows, to be honest with you. I don't even think Kawhi has given it much thought. He's focusing on winning right now, as he should. So they play Wednesday against the Bucks, which is going to be a great series. And finally, sticking with that game, just like that, the Sixers season is over, and Joel Embiid, who played through a laundry list of injuries, was overcome with emotion. He pretty much started crying seconds after the shot. He cried on the court. There's Marc Gasol comforting him. He cried into the tunnel, and he cried in the locker room, which, people are going to give him
I love that.
I
love that. I love players.
Pushback for this.
It means something.
You know what? I hate the crying shot. I hate when they immediately find the college kids in the tournament that start crying when their season's over and they're, and basketball career is over. They do it in the national championship game. I don't want to watch people cry in their failure, the biggest moment of their life. I mean, it's a nice moment. Obviously, you see him there with his girlfriend, and she's crying, he's crying, and it just.
But you know what?
It's hard because we do give Joel Embiid a hard time, and this was a nice thing to see. He does really care because he's playful and kind of a jokester.
You know what I saw all weekend long? The NBA is a big soap opera, and a lot of egos. Blah blah blah. These players, they care, and when you're a fan, that's all you want.
Right.
You don't hate them because they make a lot of money. As long as they care. What kills fans and what drove me nuts when I was, quote, a fan is when I care more than you do. Like, I always thought Robinson Cano was great for the Yankees. I was always like, I'm not sure. He gets his 2 hits. He makes his plays. That drives me nuts. Damian Lillard crying off the court or Embiid, I am so into that. I really love it.
Well, it's nice to see some emotion because as a fan, you're disappointed too.
Yeah.
And you want to feel, like you said, like the player care. And they do. Like, they all care.
They
all care. They do for a living.
Yeah. Joy,